Okay, here we go again. About the problem with Crystal Meth. And there's a story, I'll show it to you right quick. Irving Media. Okay. So, I did a story on that, rumored by a source that told me there will be no Section Tent City this summer. So, I don't know what the story is, but again, you'll see some activists speaking their mind. And anyone that's seen this, there's a website. Just go to Google, write the new Met, and it's a very, very good story, detailed, investigating journalism at its best. And it's about Crystal Meth and about how people, what they're saying is, in the southern part of the province, you had people, the so-called advocate for the homeless, they never talk about Crystal Meth. Never. So let's see how they're going, like, oh, the poor homeless on this story. And plus there'll be a lot of blah, blah, blah. Fredericton Police Chief Roger Brown, and the city of Fredericton were lauded in 2021 for coming up with the idea of several small Section Tent City for the homeless that feature garbage collection and porta shithouse, even as other cities were tearing down pop-up homeless encampment. But after these camps were reduced to just 2 over the winter months, then a series of tents fired from propane heaters questioned their safety, and they were eventually torn down. It's now uncertain if they might return this summer, which I predict there will be about 150 to 200 tents this summer by the St. John River. At this time, the chief would like to defer any comments until a later date. Fredericton Mayor, Kate Rogers, who also chairs the City Affordable Housing Committee, said Friday she isn't for or against establishing the official small tent city for the homeless this year. The homeless, again, the homeless. Let's see if they talk about Crystal Meth. Last summer, it was needed because there weren't as many shelter spaces online. The shelters that were in existence were full to capacity and overflowing. That's bullshit. That's not what we're seeing now. The shelter do have space. They won't go into shelter because you got to follow rules. And in the summer, they sleep outside. Why would they want to go into shelter, especially these medheads? Last year saw several shelters bed open across the city, including the Oak Center. Where's that? And the former City Motel, providing new shelter space as well as longer-term living accommodation. City Motel, I'm telling you, it's not what it's meant to be, never is, because you're dealing with medheads. The most important lesson from the small tent city last year, here we go, was the importance of connecting homeless people to available outreach services, the mayor said. They don't go for the service, only if you have money. We'll want to make sure that the same happened this year. What that looks like hasn't been determined yet. John Kingston, the snob of the medical clinic that allowed about 10 tents right beside it last 2 years ago, biggest crime spree that the city has ever seen. Chair of the Community Action Group, on homelessness, in Fredericton, she doesn't know nothing about homelessness. Said she's unsure what the homeless situation will look like this summer, but it's important to focus on more permanent housing. Of course, you need medheads that go into housing and piss in the washer machine, or upstairs the woman never flushed the toilet for 3 months. Okay, Charles, focus. Still, she said last year's solution was preferable to previous years, of course, when you had your tent right beside the medical clinic. When police took down pop-up sites and homeless campers then moved deeper into the woods, not deep enough, and away from access to important services. Like what? They get a welfare check, they don't have a fixed address, that's when they come out of the woods. Emergency Shelter Executive Director Warren Maddox, now is he going to talk about crystal meth? Said the emergency shelter usually have a bed or two available each night, and the emergency out-of-the-cold center in the city small craft aquatic center has been running at 50 to 60% through the winter. Of course, it's never full. Maddox said he does agree with the importance of having a way to reach out to the homeless population living rough and communicating with them about service available which can lead to permanent housing. Nothing. Oh, there are a lot of comments. I fail to understand why overnight camping at Morel Park is permitted. It is because they are considered upper class they own RVs. Isn't this discrimination? One set of rules which don't apply to city friends and family. RVs. I don't know what the hell that means. Anyway, I'll have a look. But the bottom line is they never talk about crystal meth. They never talk. And 90% of the people that so-called want to be homeless, they're not homeless. They want to be homeless because they don't follow the rules. They refuse to follow the rules. They leave a trail of destruction. And so until these people realize that really they got to do something, like that pharmacy beside the Victory Meat Market and the so-called drug rehab center, that should be moved to the old Victoria Hospital, and the citizen in downtown, they could walk freely around. But anyway, focus, Charles. Bottom line, the advocate for homelessness, you better start talking about crystal meth.